Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
Well, I'm very excited because we've got Grant here with us. Grant Kennedy, the projects manager for UCB Asia Pacific. He told me to call him Sir. So, Sir Grant, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. Thank you.
And importantly, are you a Grant or a Grant?
I'm a Grant.
A Grant, excellent. That works better with my accent, so
yeah, that's right.
I appreciate that.
I've learned to say Grant over the years. It doesn't come natural to me. Well, before we get, because you've just come back from a missions trip to the Solomon Islands, which sounds great. We'll get you to talk a bit about that, but maybe paint a bit of a picture, because UCB Asia Pacific, for those that aren't familiar, it's a bit of an outreach of vision, but it's part of a global group called UCB International. Yep. So just paint a bit of a picture of how you guys fit into the picture.
Well, let me take you back a bit of history, because Vision is actually part of the UCB group themselves. And in fact, Vision came about because of Rima in New Zealand setting up this group called UCB International, United Christian Broadcasters International, who then brought Christian radio and Christian media to a number of countries, including Australia. Wow. And that's how UCB Australia, which is now called Vision Christian Media, got to be, as well as a lot of the REMA groups, community broadcasters across Australia. So UCB was fundamental in the start of that.
Wow.
And now I work for UCB Asia Pacific, which is an outreach arm of UCB Australia Vision Christian Media, and our job is simply to try and give the people of the Asia Pacific region what we enjoy here in Australia. Christian radio, with the word for today, all that packaged together.
Wow. So what are some of the places that we reach into?
Well, we are Asia Pacific.
I guess that's true.
There are UCB. There's a UCB UK, for example, which is looking after Europe, and there's a UCB Africa, which is struggling. There's UCB in Americas as well. So we're just looking after the Asia Pacific region, and it's quite difficult to define because that is a massive area. But a lot of what we do is in the Pacific. So Cook Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, Samoa, Tonga, Papua New Guinea, and then we're also in Timor-Leste. We're up into Nepal. We're in the Philippines. We're doing quite a lot of work in Indonesia at the moment with a group called JAPRI.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Quite a bit.
What a tough gig having to work in Fiji or Vanuatu.
It's tough.
And so you've just come back from a bit of a trip. Tell us where you've been.
Well, I went to the Solomon Islands. We flew into Munda. We had 8 or 7 days in Munda.
Wow.
And then we went to Gizo for a night, then up to Taro, then ended up in Honiara for 4 days. So I was away for 16 days in total.
It does sound like a tough trip. How did you get that job, Robbo?
That's right, yes.
Well,
put the application in.
Actually, we're thinking about doing a tour, but we need to talk to the Vision Tours guy about that. But anyway,
wonderful.
Keep posted.
Okay. Well, there we go.
That sounds really good.
That sounds like great news from the ground.
Live broadcast from Fiji.
Definitely be putting my hand up for that
Absolutely.
one. But tell us, when you're on the ground there, what are you there to do, and what do you do while you're away?
We do everything that needs doing and a little bit more. It's amazing how just how things can be quite difficult.
Yes.
We have this funny little saying that says, in the Solomon Islands or wherever we are, it's hot and everything's difficult. And it's very true, because you think you just go down to the shop and buy whatever it is you need, or you take, but you can't.
Okay.
You go to 3 shops and there's still no got. So anyway, so when we were in Munda, the station in Munda had been off air for about 3 or more years. There was the antenna had rusted out. Tropics, salt, land, sea air, electronic equipment, all goes together so brilliantly well. And air conditioning, what's that? Our gear usually sits in open rooms to let the breeze blow through, so our stuff does not last. We've tried expensive gear, we've tried cheap gear, it all just dies eventually. So anyway, we were putting the station back on in Munda. We thought we had about 4 days work. We had about 8. We had 7 days there, so we were flat out the whole time we were there.
Wow. That's amazing. Yep. So, obviously you've got stations that have been on air and gone off air, and then I know that you're obviously looking to get new ones on in different parts as well. So there's lots of different complexity, I guess, to everything that you do.
Yes, very complex, because everything's different, and it can change quite quickly as well, because we went to Gizo. I said we were in Gizo for one night. We were meeting with a guy. We were hoping he was going to host our station. That didn't sort of work out. We did have a station in Gizo on a guest house. This guest house, the owners of the guest house, unfortunately, the man passed away. The guest house was sold. They took our station down.
Right.
And so we're looking for a new station. We were hoping it might have gone with him. So it didn't really work out that well. We went for a walk. We were walking back up the hill. We saw this telecom tower that didn't have anything on it. And I was with Owen, my mate, and he speaks fluent Pidgin. He spent the first 12 years of his life in the Solomon Islands, so he speaks like a local, although he's got white skin like me, and which is really funny for the locals because they look at him 3 times trying to figure out who he is. But yeah, so we spoke to the guy who was the caretaker there. He showed us in. Here's this beautiful tower, air conditioned, full power, everything
ready to go.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, and he gave us the names of the people to write to, so we didn't. Yeah, we're just praying that the door opens and we can put on not just a 25-watt station for Gizo, but a 300-watt station that will cover about 20,000 people.
Oh, fantastic!
If God opens that door for us.
We'll pray for favour in that area.
One area that I love I saw some video that you brought back with you, that it's always the people. You think about these gorgeous children running around and their mums and dads, of course. What does it mean when you're on the ground to the people to have access to these resources and to have the faith broadcasting in their local area?
Well, yeah, and that's why we do it. I mean, my heart has always been about pioneering. You know, I worked at REMA in New Zealand when we were a pioneer. I came across to Australia and was working for Vision in our pioneering days, sort of, and then, Vision's quite well established now. It's not so much a pioneer as a settler, but I'm back pioneering in the nations. And my heart is that everybody should have access to really good quality Christian media, good quality Christian broadcasting. They should have access to the Word for Today. What's stopping it? Well, there's not a lot stopping it, really. We just need to do the work to make it happen. And that's why I'm out there. And yeah, you're right. The kids are just, I just love seeing the kids. I mean, yeah.
Well, you mentioned that video, Fel, and we'll have to see. We'll see if we can get it put up onto our Facebook page because it's a really cool little snapshot of what you've been up to over these last couple of weeks. And there's a beautiful scene of the little kids dancing in that video.
And that's where my heart goes. You're immediately like, praise God that there is someone that we are a part of and reaching that generation with the message of Christ.
Exactly. Yep. Something else in the video which really just tickled my fancy was you literally walking across the tarmac of the international airport.
Yes.
Tell us the story there.
Well, the international airport is, there is you can fly directly to Munda from Brisbane. And there's the international airport there, and there is a walkway right across the middle of the tarmac. So there's a fence, there's a 10-foot fence with barbed wire all around, apart from with the 2 gates, which did have electronic locks, but now one of the gates is missing and whatever. So just look both ways before you cross the runway.
And look both ways before you cross the runway.
Do the planes honour the pedestrian crossing, or do they sort of divert if you're walking across?
Well, we actually had that. We were in Timor-Leste. We were flying with MAF, and we're coming down to land, and they just land on the bit of flat ground, and there was someone doing some truck driving lessons on the runway. We came around 3 times before they got the message that we were trying to land on.
Well, there's no horns in a plane.
We're flashing the landing lights.
Classic. Well, look, so good to hear what you're up to, and certainly some points for prayer there for our listeners to say, let's continue to pray for God's favour and blessing in all that you're doing at UCB Asia Pacific. And as mentioned, we'll definitely see if we can get that video put up on our Facebook page as well so that we can be more aware. But thanks for your time, Grant. Really exciting to hear what's going on.
No worries.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.